James Lutz. James Lutz.
There he is. You need to see him?
Can you come up here for a moment, please? Okay, it's time to get started. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Please stand for the invocation by Kamora Komachi, who's going to bring the Lord's Prayer in the Comanche language, and then we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. Kamora.
Ta apa oktamo baata nansua kaita anania ateko pa pitroi ve sikusaka baata mo baa awaiku nami maka sikata beni nami tasina nahina aiki nami hanipkata te teka aiki nami petra sakanami munhe oyorana narami mohatsku nami kamakata nami sitai sini ara amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right, thank you. Let's give Kamora a big round of applause. Kamora, come back and see us, okay? We love it. Thank you. Please call the roll.
Hooten. Epps. Brown. Demery. Hampton. Uyghur. Williams.
Present.
Warren.
Quorum is established, bringing up our presentations, recognition of recent city retirees by the city manager. John?
Good evening, everyone. We've got kind of a special recognition event tonight for two longtime veteran police officers of LPD. So can I get Sergeant Greg Ellis and family to come on up, please? Let's give them a round of applause while they're walking up. Sergeant Ellis has served 29 and a half years with the police department. He started on January 4th, 1997. Did I get the date right? That's correct, sir. Okay. And his first 21 years, he was in the patrol division, and he did that very well. He did it for a long time. But one of the things that makes Sergeant Ellis stand out is he was a field training officer, and that's really important in LPD because when our new cadets, when they get through the academy and they graduate, before they go out on their own and start responding to calls, they get that 4.5 months of field training before they do that. And Sergeant Ellis was one of those individuals that would take these new police officers, take them under his wing, mentor them, and train them. And it really was and is a position of special trust. Because it molds the department for the future. And Sergeant Ellis was chosen for that because of his expertise and his mentorship of young officers, and he did extremely well at that. And for the past 8 years, he served as our fleet services manager, so he's in charge of all of the vehicles and making sure that they're maintained and making vehicle assignments. And he's had a very illustrious and distinguished career in the police department. So go ahead and give him a round of applause.
I appreciate everybody. I'm proud to serve the community and serve the citizens for 29 and a half years. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergeant Ellis. Okay, can I get Sergeant David Shucker and family to come on up? Let's give them a walking applause. So we have Sergeant Shucker and his wife Sue, and they've been married for over 35 years. Sergeant Shucker joined the police department on January 21st, 1987. So I just, think back. A little bit of a fun fact. I was trying to remember things in 1987. So I looked at the Billboard Top 40. The #1 single for the year was Walk Like an Egyptian. Does anybody remember that song? Yeah, I thought that was really cool. I was like, wow, that was 1987. So anyways, Sergeant Shucker worked his first 4 years in patrol. At that point, he transitioned to the Special Operations Division, where he worked 18 years. And his primary area of focus in special ops is he did a lot of narcotics cases, he did some vice operations, and then he transitioned to being a detective. He was a detective for 7 years. He worked child abuse and homicide cases. And then for approximately 7 years, he worked as a range master, where he was our primary weapons instructor, and he was responsible for maintaining the range. And then you had, I think, about a 2-year stint in training where you were the training coordinator. And then kind of a full circle moment in July of last year, you went back to patrol. So ending your career where it began. So I thought that was pretty neat. In addition to that, Sergeant Shucker has been involved with the SWAT team. He served as a sniper for nearly a decade on the SWAT team. He was one of the original LPD members of the dive team. I think the dive team was started in 1994, and you were one of the original 5 members of that team. And he was for 12 of the 18 years he was in the Special Operations Division, he was the primary canine trainer for LPD. And he adopted 2 dogs. I assume they were both German Shepherds. Oh, they're both labs. Okay, so Major and Oakley, I think, and he trained them, and then once they were fully trained to be narcotics dogs, he donated them back to LPD. So that just shows you what kind of an individual he is and how committed he is to his community. In addition to that, Sergeant Shucker has received a lot of commendations, notably the Police Shield, and he was wounded on a domestic violence call early on in his career. The Police Shield is the police version of the Purple Heart in the military. And he received or was a recipient of the Detective of the Year Award in 2014. So very long, very distinguished career. Let's give Sergeant Shucker a round of applause. Okay, now we're gonna, let's give them another round of applause for both our retirees tonight. Okay, now we're gonna move on to our True North Award recipient, Brandon Perdue. Brandon, you wanna come up? Chelsea, you wanna come up too, or you're good? Okay. Brandon is a principal equipment operator in Stormwater Division of Public Works. And a couple months ago, your supervisor, Cam Wynn, got a call from the United Way, and they needed some assistance with a elderly disabled lady that was moving to the Lawton Fort Sill area, and they needed somebody to help her move into her apartment. I think what you guys were initially told was she had like a pickup worth of stuff. And so Brandon showed up, and it wasn't a pickup. It was a 18-foot box truck from floor to ceiling with boxes. And she lived on the second floor. So he made several trips up and down the stairs, got all of her stuff unloaded, offered to help her set it up. And I think that these types of things is what makes our community a special one. You know, you did it wasn't on a weekend, you did it on a day where you worked all day out in the hot sun, but you had enough compassion and care for somebody you didn't even know. And so we certainly want to recognize that and thank you. Let's give him a round of applause.
Okay, and that brings up item number 3. Consider receiving a report from Marie Deddy Youth and Family Services regarding its gang intervention prevention program and take action to approve a support agreement in the amount of $100,000 for fiscal year ending 2027 for the implementation and operation of the program. It's all yours.
Is the red light on?
Yes. Okay, perfect.
We need to put a little sign on
There is a sign, but I was not reading it, so there you go.
Okay.
Thank you, council and mayor and city manager, for having me here today. I always enjoy coming and telling you guys anything Marie Deddy, because that is my passion. So I'm here today to talk to you guys about our gang prevention program that you guys fund for us. 100% of the funding does come from you guys, which I'm so thankful for. And I want to talk about the progress that we have made since last year. All of our numbers have increased, which is really amazing. The program has been going this second time around for this is our third or fourth year. Every year we pick up momentum, even with the changing times of how things have changed from when we had it years ago to where it was much easier to find and help kids get off the street and not be involved in gang activity because they were just out and about. It's a little different now than it used to be. And my outreach specialist, Brian Pack, if you don't know him, you need to. He's amazing. He does a wonderful job in our community doing things for whoever he can talk to. Oh, I did this right. Okay, perfect. This just kind of talks about the whole why behind the gang program is to have safe alternatives for kids, safe things for them to do so they engage in something that is a healthy activity instead of going into gang life. Some of his kids are currently in, some of them he's trying to prevent from going into gangs because they may have a family history of that's what they do, and some of them join because they make friends with people and that's what they choose to do. So his role is to go out, talk to them. He goes into the schools. He is everywhere talking to them, intervening, and the principals call him to come and talk about if the kids are having problems in school. He goes in there one-on-one trying to talk with them. He's providing skills and awareness to people in the public. He's gone in and talked to neighborhood watches to raise awareness about how to prevent gang involvement. He is just a caring mentor. I mean, Brian is the one they call when they need something. The family calls him if they need something to kind of help them, whether it is a utility bill, whether it is the kids he's working with who need school clothes to go to school because they don't have that. He's getting kids, helping them get jobs, teaching them how to keep their jobs, the importance of, having a skill so they don't have just that life to go to. He's showing them that there's other things that they can get involved in. Our entire model is based off of the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Program. This is the why we do what we do and how we do it. It's about community mobilization. It's about opportunities and social intervention, and then organizational change to develop policies and effective to change resources, and then suppression, making sure that we all understand that there's accountability and there's measures in place to keep kids accountable for gang activity. One of the big things that he does every year is his Gang Pete's Fest, and I'll talk to you about that. This is our statistics from this particular year for FY26. It just ended in June 30th. And so he has served 61 youth compared to last year when he only served 29. So his caseload is definitely increasing. We are at 89% where we had no new law enforcement contact with the kids that he's worked with. Last year we were at 86, so that's still rising. He's had 15 kids maintain employment. Last year we had 10. And then he's had 25 kids return to school as compared to last year, which was 18. So his impact does make a difference with the kids that he works with. The big Peace Fest that we do every year, we planned probably the worst weekend to do it, which ran into Juneteenth and all of that. Horrible weekend. And we still had 216 people, which was up from last year. So this year we did it at our new property, which was exciting. And so this is a time to get families together and to show them, get all of our resources out. We had community people come and set up resource tables and all that. The community comes together to wrap around these kids and to make sure that they know that there's people in their corner, along with, teaching them different things they can do. Like I said, it was a lot of adults and a lot of kids came out. We were really excited. Like I said, that seems to be growing every year that we do it. A lot of success stories, and we just gave you a few in your folder. You've got many more where you can kind of show what we do. I put the whole report for our entire year in there. We got kids getting jobs at Bar S. They're getting into rehabilitative services, and they're taking classes at Great Plains Technology Center, kids joining the Army. I mean, they just have to have somebody in their corner showing them, hey, we care about you. There is something else that you can do, and there's someone that believes in you. He's got kids graduating from high school, taking their driver's courses, and they're getting. This year we bought things like cheerleading uniforms and things like that. Kids that were going to play basketball, get on the cheer team, and they're involved in things that they wouldn't have been able to do because maybe their family may not have had the resources to get them the uniforms and to get them the stuff to keep them engaged in something different. So like I said, all about what Marie Detty does is prevention work. That is what we do in every one of our programs. So we buying kids clothes so they can go back to school. He's helping kids get uniforms so they can go to work. Making sure that we don't pay as much rental assistance. We do that with one of our other programs at Marie Detty, is where we pay a lot of rental assistance with our ESG program. And then clients completing driver's ed, you had 4 people do that and get their permits. So, and without these services, these kids would not have been able to do these things. So that's just giving you a little bit of the impact that we have. I think I am probably going to have to really hire another part-time person. Brian's caseload is too big. And and then the goal is also to increase engagement more into the community, going into businesses and things of that nature. And then continue, which our big job is to reduce recidivism and make sure that kids are not committing crimes. That is what the whole goal of many things that we do, but this program in particular. So, I made it short and sweet this year for you guys to keep it, but I've given you so much information in your packet along with every program that Marie Detty has. So if you ever wanted to know what we do, and if you have questions for me, let me know. I can answer anything you want to know.
Okay, that was a great presentation. Thank you. Would you go back to maybe the first slide with 4 circles on it?
Let's see.
That one.
That one?
They weren't circles, I'm sorry.
Well, okay.
You served 61 youth. When I saw that, I thought that included your Peace Fest, but your Peace Fest, you're not counting those as
No.
served.
Those are just kids on his caseload.
You actually served 61 kids, and these were kids that were high risk of gang activity or kind of had one toe in, or what?
It can be either way. It can be either high risk of going into a gang, they're already just getting into a gang, or they may have family members that are gang members or in gangs, and we're trying to work with those kids so they can see alternative ways to do things. So yeah, his caseload, it jumped crazy this year.
89% of those kids, it says, had no new law enforcement contact, meaning
we track all of our kids through the JOLT system, and so when we put them in there, we're able to track whether they've committed a crime once they became part of our caseload.
and that means they did have law enforcement contact before you got.
Yes, most of the kids that we would have would come through our CARS program, which those are our community at risk. They're on probation, and so they may have been referred to us through JDC or different places like that. Not all of them, but a lot of them may have already had some sort of involvement with law enforcement.
Right. So now it says 15 maintained employment. So you help them get jobs, and 15 out of 61, 25%.
Some of them may not be at the age to even have a job. So
How old are these kids?
Some of them we start at the age of 12. Wow. Yeah. So some of them, if you look at, they weren't old enough to get a job, because that concerned me too. And I was asking Brian, I'm like, what? He's like, Miss Carrie, not all of them can get a job. And I was like, okay, that's fair. They're not all old enough.
And some of them had dropped out of school. And so over a third of them, you got back into school. Is that right?
Correct.
And your guy that does it all, his name's Brian?
Brian Pack.
Okay, well, you tell Brian I said thank you. And
He's-
I
he's
got a
an-
mayor coin
he's
for him
really,
because
really
this
good
is
at his job.
amazing. And getting these kids on the right path is awesome. Other questions? Yes, Mr. Uyghur.
Thank you, Mayor. Being a chairman of our YFAC committee, one of the things that we really strive for is prevention, reaching out to the children before they get into trouble. And thank you so much for all you're doing, because as I'm looking at these stats as well, it's very encouraging to see the upswing as opposed to a decline.
Thank you. I agree.
So thank you for you and your staff and all that they're doing.
I have the best staff, and I know that.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
Any other comments? Okay, I think we need to give Mayor Daddy a round of applause for an amazing report, helping these kids stay straight. Thank you.
One thing I want to personally invite all of you to our grand opening on August 28th at 10 o'clock. You'll be receiving an email, but I just want you to know, come see our new building.
Okay, thank you. You're going to send out calendar invites, right? Okay, thank you. And that brings up our reports by the mayor.
Mayor
of City-
Booker. I'm sorry, there was action on that item.
There was?
Yes, they have their funding agreement for next year.
Oh, we have to, okay. Bob, you want to make
Yes, I'll make a motion to go ahead unless,
motion to approve in a second? Please vote. Motion carries 8-0. And that brings up our reports. And we're going to start with the Sergeant Major.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, council members, citizens. First, I'd like to say congratulations to the recognized city retirees and the True North Award recipient, and the phenomenal work that the Youth and Family Services is doing. That's quite amazing. For our side, last week, Army Community Services turned 61. So essentially any DOW personnel that a resource they could use and benefit from is somehow tied to ACS. So that was a pretty big deal. We're in full swing now, back to school. Yesterday, the Freedom Elementary had, I call it in processing, so all the kids were back and getting ready to go back to school. And we'll have meet the teacher here, I think on the 9th of August. And then finally up some planning and in the middle of some others for significant events, one of them being the 25th anniversary Remembrance events for 9/11, and then Oktoberfest and the Christmas tree lighting ceremony. So we're still training, but we're planning for some pretty big events here coming up at the end of the year. Thank you.
All right, great. Thanks, Sergeant Major. And Mr. Warren.
I really only have one thing, and hopefully I can express it. Probably 30 years, my wife and I didn't take a vacation. We just worked. And then we decided we were too old to continue to do that. So we just started taking vacations. And it's very interesting to travel around and see the way that other cities handle problems, find solutions. But the one thing that strikes me, we stop at almost every town that we go to, we stop at some kind of memorial for military or veterans or something of that nature, and we take pictures. And we do a really good job here, but we should be doing a better job. We have a larger population of veterans and retired military than probably I wouldn't even begin to guess. And every amount of dollar that we can gather up, we should be programming into some kind of military memorial. That should be that place that, I mean, I go to see the giant shovel or the giant muffler man or whatever. But Lawton, Oklahoma ought to be the place where everybody in the United States goes to see the memorial, the Military Veterans Memorial. And I'm getting ready to leave. Hopefully somebody will pick up that that thought and that idea, and we can move forward, because that's what Lawton's about.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Williams.
I'd like to personally thank Mr. Rusty Weissenhut and his team. Thank you so much for how they've been responding so fast to some of the things I've requested to be done, especially they've highlighted some of the streets with the yellow lines and everything, and my constituent wanted to let you know that he personally thanked you, Mr. Edward. Also, had the opportunity to say farewell to one of my childhood church friends this past Saturday, Superintendent Michael Cross, family which I've known very well. The celebration was just beautiful. A lot of people attended it. And I say that to say this. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. And that's by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So show somebody some love.
Okay, Mr. Uyghur.
Thank you, Mayor. I had the privilege this past week to be at my nephew's wedding in Boston, Massachusetts, where it's 23 degrees cooler than Lawton, Oklahoma. But you know, there is no place like home. And while I was there, I had the opportunity getting acquainted with new members coming into the family through marriage. We began talking, and some had shared that they had a history at Fort Sill. Well, I found that quite encouraging, because it gave me an opportunity to begin to share some of the things that's been going on in our Lawton community. And to my fellow Lawtonians, I just say this: we truly have been blessed in many ways. We've got a lot of good things to talk about, and I know we have to keep pride in check. But it's okay to be proud of Lawton. Lawton has a lot to offer. There's a lot of, we've got vision, we've got activity, we've got community that's growing. And you say, well, I don't think it's growing. Oh, just drive down Cash Road. It gets busy. And of course, lately, Boulevard's very busy these days, since it's only one way on traffic. But nonetheless, we have so much to be thankful for as a community that is moving forward, does have a vision. And I'm thankful to work with a council and a mayor that sees the importance of all this. So there's just a lot of great things going on.
All right, thank you so much. Mr. Hampton.
Thank you, Mayor. You got 3 guesses. I'm just going to read off a list here. Black-eyed peas, watermelon, fresh eggs, fresh greens, and one of my favorite things as of last visit, strawberry cream honey. You ever heard of that before? Creamed honey with the flavoring in it. On crackers with peanut butter, it's delicious. But visit the farmer's market if you get a chance to go over there, because there is activity there. You'll probably run into people you know, at least 2 or 3, community getting together. It's just a wonderful, wonderful time with wonderful, wonderful food. I do want to follow up on Councilman Uyghur's. The word benevolent community comes to mind. I've been here since 1963. It is a community of action, and not just action, but results. And it's real evident from meeting last night and some of the things that we shared. It is important to take care of those that are downtrodden and without, to lift them up and to bring them forth. And that old saying, teamwork makes the dream work, basically means that everybody does their part and stays in their lane and gets things accomplished as one unit. And I see that here in Lawton, and I think it's fantastic. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, Ms. Demery.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. I just want to thank all of our city employees, any person who has a job working outside. As the temperatures are rising well above 100 degrees, you know, whether you're delivering mail, whether you're picking up trash or responding to emergencies, thank you. Your service and dedication does not go unnoticed. We appreciate you. Please make sure you stay hydrated. Also, as the school year is fast approaching, let's remember our homeless children. If you're out and about and you're picking up supplies for your own children or your grandchildren, pick up a couple of extra supplies for those homeless kids. It may not seem like a lot to you, but it'll definitely give these kids a good and positive start for the year. Also, if you're looking for something to do, the rodeo starts this week. It starts on Wednesday through Saturday, so go and check out the rodeo. Thank you.
And Mr. Brown. Mr. Epps.
Yes, if I could piggyback off of my peers down there about the great things that are happening across the city. I took this week off from work because we're going to go on a family trip tomorrow, but these first 2 days I got to go around town and visit some of the construction that's happening. We've got local builders that are building multifamily homes and things of that nature. I'll have some of those pictures posted. But I mean, just great. The growth is happening, the economic development, the engine is working, infrastructure is being built, and I couldn't think of a better place to live. So I'm very thankful. And good segue to that. We're going to celebrate August 8th. Is that right? August 8th, 125 years McMahon Auditorium is done. And so as part of the city's 125-year celebration, we're going to do the ribbon cutting because, as a lot of you know, we just completed construction, and there's a whole host of events that day. Good Lord. Cowboy breakfast, a Ranger cattle drive. Jason, you're just busy. So great day. August 8th, mark your calendars. Look out on Facebook for details on all the exciting things that are going to happen that day.
Mr. Hooton.
Yeah, I got the invitation to that a little earlier this week, and I've never been invited to anything that started at 7 o'clock in the morning. So it's pretty early, but we'll be there. We'll be there. I had a really good experience with the city of Lawton staff this past weekend. There's a neighborhood over in Ward 1 has been terrorized by some dogs. It's a pack of dogs who lived in a home, but they were escaping all the time. Well, there was a bad thing that happened on Saturday night to someone's pet, and they called me Sunday morning about it, and I called John, and it's kind of amazing how fast things can work. And because the neighbors were afraid to go, with their mailbox, to pick up things. I mean, these dogs, it's just irresponsible, and the owners anyway. So anyway, at that point, but we went to church, and I called the people and said that, John said someone would be on it pretty quickly, and by gosh, they were. By 11:30 or so, by the time I got out of church, they'd been picked up, those dogs, and the neighborhood, just breathed a sigh of relief because, and I want to thank John and the staff, Mr. Blassingame and the others. Thank you very much. Those people over there are very grateful for what happened this past weekend. Thank you.
Very good. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. This Thursday, we're starting our 6th annual Citizens Academy, so we're very excited about that. We have a full class to include Councilwoman Demery, which we're excited that she's joining us, and that will begin the 12-week course, and we'll have graduation on October 8th.
Okay, great. I'm going to get Jason to come up here to the microphone and tell us more about what we have going on August the 8th.
All right. The sign is kind of small on here. I was noticing that. So Mayor, Council, City Manager, and the public and citizens. So we're so excited for the Lawton's 125th birthday celebration. So one of the reasons that we're starting it at 7 a.m. is because that's actually probably earlier. The cooks are going to be out there about 4 a.m. working on a traditional cowboy breakfast. So we'll have 2 chuck wagons out there. So we'll have coffee, donuts, bacon, sausage, biscuits, and gravy. So you can get your cowboy breakfast in. That'll be at the Trading Post at Museum of the Great Plains. So nice traditional setting there. We'll also have a Longhorn cattle drive. So first time that's happened within city limits in a long time. And that cattle drive is going to start in Elmer Thomas Park at 8:30. And it's going to go actually by McMahon Park, by the Children's United Park, splash pad, by the Aquatic Center. So there's going to be some great photo ops going across in front of the museum and in front of McMahon Memorial Auditorium, and then they'll end behind McMahon Memorial Auditorium. And that's a build-off with the Lawton Rangers who have helped to organize that. So Lawton Rangers will be in it, the Longhorn will be in it. We'll have the debut of the Buffalo Soldiers Mobile Museum. It was a $50,000 Civil Rights Trail grant that the Lawton Library helped the Buffalo Soldiers get. And so that will be posted at McMahon Memorial Auditorium. So we're going to cut the ribbon at about 9:30 for McMahon Memorial Auditorium, and then we'll go into McMahon for a wonderful tribute to Louise McMahon, one of the matriarchs of the city of Lawton. And then, of course, our city awards. So we have several awards that we'll be giving out. Mayor's Commission on the Status of Women, who we partner with, we'll be giving out their awards. We'll do the proclamations for the Pioneer Women and the Lawton Rangers. We'll have performances by MacArthur Stomp Team. We'll have Mac, the 5-time state champion, MacArthur ROTC team presenting colors. So we'll have a lot of youth out there. So it's just going to be a wonderful event coming up on August 8th, starting as Councilman Hooten recognized at 7 a.m., but that's when the breakfast will be out there, and should be done by about 12 o'clock.
But Mr. Hooten can come at 4.
Oh, if he wants to help prepare, yes, because they're using the wood, the cedar coal, like the wood, creating those coals and getting that going, because you have to get quite a bit of that to get those biscuits to, the correct temperature. So that's that.
I think he.
And we just got word that Pistol Pete will be here visiting from OSU, so we'll have a great photo op. Working on the Sooner Schooner, and Old Kim. I think now that they know that Pistol Pete will be there, I'm pretty sure we're going to have Old Kim out there as well.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. I know it's going to be fun because you're in charge.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That brings up the consent agenda. The following items are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted with one motion. Should discussion be desired on an item, that item will be removed from the consent agenda prior to action and considered separately. Council, I don't have any requests to pull anything off the consent. Is there anybody? Any requests? Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Motion and a second. Please vote. Motion carries 8-0. Bringing up unfinished business, item number 27. Consider the following 2 damage claims recommended for denial. James Lutz in the amount of $38,036.50 and Terry Alexander in the amount of $22,275.73. Jerry Askins, City Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. As you all know, approximately a little over a month ago, this item was also on the agenda, and at the request of Council, it was set off until today's date to allow the City Attorney's Office an opportunity to review the investigative report. And I can tell you that we have done that. We have reviewed the investigation. There is nothing in the investigative report that changes our recommendation for denial based upon the fact that the city did not have any notice that there was an issue in the area prior to this extreme flooding that occurred.
So was this for both of them? We obviously tabled both of them. Were both of them in question?
It was one item. Mm-hmm.
So which one is not contested?
Both. Oh.
There's 2 on here, see?
Right. We recommend denial of both.
Okay, so we have Lutz here, but we don't have Alexander.
I think that's correct.
Okay, so I know, oh no, we do have. Okay, we're going to start with the first one that's listed, and that is Lutz. And I have James Lutz here to speak. Mr. Lutz, would you please come forward?
Of course, this isn't my forte. This is not what I do. I do something totally different than this. I try to be a good man, a good citizen. I pray to God to be a better man every day. Everything that comes out of my mouth is going to be the truth. We live at 1311 Cherry. We had inundation of floodwaters backed up into our basement and into our swimming pool. I did not want to be involved in removal of the contents out of our basement, so I hired ServPro to take each item out, take an inventory picture of it, and then throw it in a dumpster and haul it off. I did not want to be accused of doing anything that was not kosher. I wanted everything to be as it should be, exactly as it should be. I have ordered through the Freedom of Records items on the sewer system, and I received, mostly what I received is the link upstream, not downstream, to review for my consideration. It was clogged going downstream. The city attorney, or not, excuse me, the city attorney said that that houses in the neighborhood were flooded to 16 inches of water. My house sits at 1,087 feet above sea level. The bottom of our street is 1,062 feet, and the place at Laird and Ferris is 1,061 feet. So we had approximately 25 foot of head pressure to shove anything on down. He said it was a 1 in 500 year flood. I will invite anybody to get out their ChatGPT and Google when the last 500 year flood was in Lawton. And I can tell you there has never been a 500 year flood. It will tell you exactly all the flood dates. That is completely fictitious, completely contrived out of nowhere. It does not exist. As far as the maintenance of the sewer line, that thing was rotted out. It seems like every 2 or 3 months for years and years and years. I have a letter from my neighbor. They have to go through her yard to do it, and she knows it's all 100% true. So it's just what I have to ask myself. I am a citizen paying for sewage to be removed from my house. I am being inundated with backed up floodwater from a failing sewer system, and the city's wanting to take any shady measure from my perspective. You have to consider this from my perspective. 500 year flood? I mean, really? That is a specific target area. That's something you're going to go look up. When was the last 500 year flood? Oh, this is it. This is our 500 year flood. No, it is not our last 500 year flood, because the closest thing to it's like 1953. And that was a 200 year flood. So with everything coming at me, it's like I have been the sustainer of damages on a sewer that was not kept up to par. My swimming pool was filled up with sewage water. For the last 3 weeks, I've had a crew out to my house that has jackhammered that one of the biggest swimming pools in Lawton, jackhammered it and filled it in with dirt. My wife won't be in it again. She said, I'm not getting in there. There's no way to clean it. There's no way to clean all the lines that go to it. I've got my granddaughter coming this weekend, my first great-grandson coming, and it's like, the pool's been a big deal to us. That's filled in. We're canceling our basement. I just appeal to you guys. I mean, how would you think if this was happening to you? If they were constantly back there trying to unclog this sewer system, and then it fails, and they call 500-year flood. Oh, you're in the same group of houses that are the ones down there where the cars float around, down by Laird and Ferris. No, my house is on a hill. I just don't even, it just blows my mind that we are here talking about this and it being denied.
Okay, let me get Garrett up here. And Garrett, please, is Garrett here?
Yes, sir.
Garrett, can you please explain why this is not the liability of the city of Floyd, please?
The recommendation for denial was based on law, right? So we reviewed the claim, we look at it from multiple facets. So one of the facets that we recommended denial was acts of God. Acts of God for flooding is something that exempts the city of liability if it's without of our control. In order to find some form of liability on the city, you look for negligence. In this case, when we reviewed this claim and we did our investigation, we looked for where the city could have been negligent in this. We didn't find a position where the city would have been negligent in our opinion, and so that's the reason for the recommended denial. We still looked at the sewer history. However, in my opinion, when you have maybe two causes competing, you still look at the one that was probably the overpowering cause, I guess, which in my opinion would have still been the flood waters that day. Multiple places in Lawton was flooded where it doesn't normally flood. So that's the reason for the recommendation for denial in this case, and in both cases actually for both houses, was for the exemption from liability in state law, which is acts of God.
So the determination is that the city is not liable.
The city would not be liable based on the fact that there would be no negligence on the city's part. We couldn't control the fact that there was a flood.
Okay.
So
And
negligence is never presumed. You have to find negligence or a liability somewhere where there could have been some type of negligence. And in that case, we don't find that here when there's a flood.
Okay, and if the council votes to pay for something that we're not negligent for, the council members could be held to treble damages, correct?
That's correct.
So what is Mr. Lutz's recourse? Is there a place to appeal?
He can
Is
always
the
take
district court?
Yeah,
District
can always
court.
take it to the district court. Yeah.
Okay. All right, council members, do you have any questions?
I
Mr.
do.
Epps.
I do, because I take personal, a particular concern since this is in Ward 2, and I just want to make sure I clearly understand this before we vote. Based off of what you're saying, I'm to understand that, one, the flooding is due to an act outside of, it's just an act of God, an act of nature. We couldn't control this flooding happening. Is that a true statement?
Yes. So when you look at the amount of rainfall that fell within that short amount of time, and the amount of water that goes into our sewer systems all at once,
Yeah.
there was nowhere else for the water to go.
Yeah, and there's nothing we can do
So,
about that.
exactly.
Anyone that's affected by and like something that's just out of the city's control, we can't stop a flood from happening.
Exactly.
Okay. Then the second piece I want to make sure that I understand is that based off of the investigation that was conducted and the maintenance that needs to happen in terms of that sewage line, there's no neglect on the part of the city.
Right. So when we pulled the sewer history for that line and we do the 3 lines below, usually that's the standard for what we pull to see about history. We couldn't find anything that would have held up to what we called notice, to put us on notice that there was a problem with that line. So that can be either actual notice that we know that that line is having a problem collapsing or not working. That could also be what we call constructive notice, where we've had problems with that line in the past that have not been fully maybe resolved. Sometimes if that happens, we'll say we have notice on a line and it could put us on what we call constructive notice that there's an issue there. So on the lines that we looked at there was nothing that we would have considered constructive notice or actual notice for an issue.
Yeah, so this isn't neglect on our part as a city, and we can't control the flooding. It seems like it's one of those things that's just it's tough to deal with. Absolutely, and I fully understand. Okay, thank you. And his recourse is that he could appeal to the district court. Is that correct?
Yeah, he could file suit in
He
district
could file
court.
suit in district court. Okay. Okay. thank
Other
you.
questions? Do I have a motion? Mr. Epps?
Yes. I think just because of what you said, and this is an extremely tough decision to make this motion, but based off of, go ahead, sir.
So why were the trucks constantly coming out to the house to rod that line out?
Okay, we're not gonna try it here.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're
That's
kind of
fine.
bound by what the legal department tells us. And the legal department that says the liability does not exist for negligence for the city to pay for it. And I really don't know how the council can do anything but deny it under the information we've
understand
been given. And we've tried to communicate to you,
I understand what you're saying.
okay? Mr. Epps.
Yeah, the line of questions that I asked was to just make sure that I had clear understanding, because there are other things that we have to consider outside of this, and unfortunately, we are kind of we're in a bit of a box. So, based off of all the evidence, I recommend denial for this.
And district court will take us out of that box, right? Okay. It's fine.
Okay, and we have a motion for denial? Is there a second? Go ahead and hit your mic there.
I'm not going to make that whole speech because I've already heard it, but we are limited by what we can do. We can't, I mean, I guess we could sit here and hear all the evidence from Public Works and all those people, but in the end, our legal department's going to say deny. But yes, when and if you do take it to district court, that does open that box up, and you can ask for any information that you want, and you or your attorney or whatever has the ability to try the case rather than just state law.
Well, it's already cost me a fortune, so I guess
Okay.
I'll continue to.
Discussion is over. Please vote. Okay, motion passes 7-1. And that brings up the claim with Terry Alexander. Do we have an introduction to that?
Same information, Mr. Mayor. The legal department has reviewed the records that were available to us concerning the lines and found nothing to change the recommendation for denial.
Okay, thank you. And our speakers are Terry Alexander and Bo Cole, and I've got your address and phone here. So what do you have to tell us?
Well, I just have a couple questions. We have a similar situation. Only our main source was Fort Sill Boulevard. The water came off of Fort Sill Boulevard, off of Lawton High, and came down through our backyard. And so last time we were here, there was discussion about the new ball fields that were built. And y'all were going to check into that, see if they got a permit for it. My question is, did they get a permit, and did they also do a flood risk certification? Because if none of that was done, then this has nothing to do with the sewer. I mean, we had sewer water come up in the house.
Yeah, it seems like I remember that. And Garrett, did you check that out?
We reached out to Building and Construction to see if there was a permit pulled specifically for the ball fields. There was not specifically for the ball fields, but for the projects that were in and around, and I don't know if they included that or not. What we did find out is when we reached out about the person who installed the ball fields, it's a company, I think out of Kansas, when we talked to them, the particular ball fields that they install are made and designed in a way that they would be self-draining, is what they called it. There's a system underneath the ball fields that would actually take in water that it could, and it would run to the city's main. However, in this instance, with the amount of water that was there, I'm not sure that it would have made a difference because, like I said, when you have your sewer system that's backed up and full everywhere, I mean, there's nowhere for the water to go. So, but we did look into that specifically.
Okay, so Bo also asked about the flood study, and I know sometimes, depending on what you're doing, you're required to submit some kind of flood study. It has to do with retaining ponds and stuff like that. Is that appropriate discussion here?
I don't know the answer to that. All I know is the fact that the ball fields are made with the drainage system. That's how they're made. So
Okay, Charlotte's going to come and tell us.
With the turf fields, we didn't have any permits, so we didn't have any detention or retention that was done. But when they added some of their buildings around there, they did install a small detention retention pond on the northeast side of the ball field. So they did install for the building, but it was only looked at for the increase of impervious surface for the building, not anything.
Because the ball fields were, the water could go through and escape, and matter of fact, directly tied to the storm drain, is that what I understood?
That's the way it was explained to me.
Which is better than just,
Yes.
or is it, where, Bo's shaking his head no? Is it better?
Same place.
Yeah, it's all going to go the same place. And like Garrett said, if everything's full, then
Okay,
there's
yeah.
no place for it to go.
Charlotte, they being LPS?
LPS,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, so you're still telling us, Garrett, that your review of all this and your investigation and your legal determination is that there is no liability on the city. Is that correct?
Exactly. So you look at it the same way as you did the previous claim, with the major factor or of the damage being the act of God, which was the flooding. And we looked for the city's negligence in that. We don't see the city's negligence in it. That's the reason for the recommendation for denial.
The city's negligence as defined by state law. The state law defines when we're negligent.
It doesn't specifically define when we're negligent. You look for reasons that could cause that negligence to exist.
Like prior notice.
Wrongdoing, prior notice, stuff like that. Yes, sir. So we looked for those reasons, which we could not find. The determining factor here for us was the flooding.
Okay.
What I can tell you, and I think I said it the last time too, I've been there 14 years. Terry's been there almost 30 years, 28 years. And we've had, in the 14 years I've been there, we've had 3 what they call 6-inch rains the first 2 were within an hour. We had 6 inches of water in the backyard. Last year's, with that new ball field stuff going on, and it's not just the baseball, there's 3 baseball fields and there's a football field. And we had 2 feet of water in the backyard. Something changed.
Councilman?
Let's say that because I'm no expert at construction, but let's say that the baseball fields were constructed in a manner that was not correct. Would the city be liable, or would LPS be liable? Don't even say if LPS would be, just would the city be liable?
I mean, I don't know if I can answer that just yes or no. I don't know because you look at the determining factors for why this damage was happening in the first place.
Mhm.
And then I still go back to the fact that we have this massive amount of rainfall that's causing the flooding, that's causing the sewage system to be overloaded, that no matter how big of lines you had down there, you may not be able to get all of the water to drain at once. So I don't know that I have an answer for you on that.
So as the legal representation for the city, it's not about the size of the lines. It's not about any negligence on our part in terms of maintaining it or aware of something wrong on our part. Like we don't see where there's liability against the city.
In this particular instance, we did not find
Okay.
that. Not saying that that can't ever exist.
Yeah.
You can sometimes have situations where you have what you call contributory negligence, where there would be multiple reasons for something to go wrong. We had, for instance, if there was a reason the city could have been found negligent on top of the flood, that could play a part into the amount of liability that we would see on behalf of the city. Again, we go back to the review that happened here in this case and the investigation. We didn't see that for when we were looking. So,
But it also seems to me that it's fair to say that we can't control how LPS or another entity builds. We don't have a part in that process. Is that correct? Are we a part, aside from a issuing of a permit, we don't have a part in like who they contract with, what that looks like? That's not us.
I mean, yeah, everyone would be responsible for following city code for the way that they
Right.
build.
They would be required to get a permit for the impervious surface.
Mm-hmm.
And I know in some of the more recent fields, they installed French drains in them. And so I don't know when these were constructed, but I know that they did that as a prophylactic measure on the newer fields.
Okay. But to the extent that we're responsible, it's incumbent upon them to follow city code, and they would request appropriate permits from us. We're not a part of that construction process. Is that fair to say?
Well, I think that we would inspect. I think we have an inspection requirement, and I'll let Charlotte explain that.
Okay.
Yes, so they would be required permits and we would go through the inspection process, but we would not tell them who to hire to do that work. I think that's what you're getting at. So yeah, whoever they hire, that would be wholly on the property owner or architect or whoever they've hired to do the plans.
So when it was constructed, we did do an inspection. I'm asking, not making
Not
a
on the ball fields.
Not on the ball
No.
fields. Were the ball fields required to have a permit?
They should have had a permit, yes.
Okay. That's the rub for me. Given that they should have had a permit, I almost feel like it's a different issue. I still don't think that knowing that they should have had a permit, let me ask you this. Does that change the recommendation for the legal department, or do you all need to go back and re-look at some things before you want to really answer?
I mean, in my opinion, it's never the city's responsibility to make sure that someone's coming to you to get their permits. We frequently don't always catch people who have a carport added or in addition to their house where they don't pull permits. The recourse for that looks different for each situation. I think you're asking me to essentially say if that makes us negligent. I still, with the fact that you had the flood, I don't think that it does. I think that the responsibility on LPS would have been to pull their permits for the fields, and if they weren't done, I'm not sure what the recourse looks like afterwards for the city whenever there's an addition or something that's not been permitted. I don't know what the regular response is for us, but no, I mean, my recommendation would remain.
And Councilman Epps, I would add that for a rainfall that significant, 6 inches in an hour, there's not a 5.5. Okay.
We've had 2 6-inch rains in an hour, had 6 inches of water.
Okay.
That was 6 inches over an hour and a half. We had
Okay.
2
Okay.
feet.
Okay. Thank you. So there's not a lot of places in Lawton that won't flood under those circumstances. That's a lot of rain. That's a lot of stress and pressure on the stormwater system.
So if I understand correctly, you're saying it is likely that there would have been a flood anyway, because it was an act of nature.
Yes.
Okay. I think I'm going to make this statement and I'll circle back. I think I'd still like to understand what the recourse is when a permit was required but not pulled. What is the city's recourse in that case? Understanding that that may not have caused the flood. And we may not be able to discuss right now because that's almost a separate issue.
So typically, if a permit is not pulled, and they're caught during construction or after construction, we go out, we make contact with the property owner, and we require them to go ahead and submit for the permit, even if the construction is done. Because we still want to make sure that they're following the guidelines and the rules set aside by code and stuff like that. So we will go out, and we've even written tickets in the past for work done without a permit.
Has that happened in this case?
No, it has not.
Will it?
I will visit with leadership and we will make a decision on that.
Okay, given that, it is my understanding that your recommendation is for denial based off of an act of nature that we cannot control. And the rub with that is that we often have personal properties that flood and there's damage done, and there are a lot of people that would want the city to be liable, and I understand that. I truly understand that because we want compensation for the damage that's been done so that we don't have to, we shouldn't, in a perfect world, like if my house is flooded, I don't want to have to eat that cost. Like it is an unplanned stress.
You don't do anything.
Yeah, and I think that's not the, I hate to say it, but I don't think the city can act as an insurance policy for everyone. I hate to say that. I really do from the bottom of my heart. And with that, I'd like to make a motion for denial.
A motion for denial. Once I have a motion, we take care of it. Have a motion for denial. Is there a second? We do have a second. Discussion from the council. There is none. Please vote. Motion carries 8-0. And you understand from the previous conversation, your appeal is through the district court.
Yeah, I guess we'll see you in the LPS and district court.
Okay.
I just want y'all to know that this 24 inches of
Mr.
water.
Cole, this item is over. The vote has been made.
Okay.
And the item is over. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for hearing.
Brings up business item number 28. Consider holding a public hearing and consider an ordinance to amend the binding site plan for property described as lots 11 through 14, Block 6, Lee Edition, also known as 55 Northwest Sheridan Road, Lawton, Oklahoma, 73505, Cameron.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. This is a property located just east of Sheridan, off of Arlington, north of Gore. As you can see in this aerial, it's currently vacant. In 2023, a rezoning ordinance was passed that placed a binding site plan on this property. This is the existing binding site plan. As you can see, the lot 12 and 11 were rezoned from R1 to C1. This was to allow for the sale of this property to move forward, and the goal to try to recruit a commercial business to come. We do now have a property owner that wants to change the binding site plan and the use of the property. The proposed use is a Schlotsky's Deli with an additional retail space. This did go to 15 property owners within 300 feet on July 1st and posted a lot in Constitution on July 5th. We received no phone calls for or against this item. The City Planning Commission did hold a public hearing on June 25th where they recommended approval subject to the condition that the binding site plan add an OPEG screening fence and tree buffer on the east property line, which is required by code, with a vote of 5-0. Be happy to answer any questions.
Seeing no questions, I'm sorry, we do have questions.
Yes, quite all right. This will be in my ward, so at the city planning commission, there were no residents that showed up for that either?
Correct, yep.
Okay. With that said, I'll make a motion to, a public hearing, I'm sorry.
I'm going to open the public hearing. Anybody wishing to speak on this item, please come forward at this time. Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. Now I can take a motion.
Thank you, Mayor. One thought came to mind. You know, there was a flooding issue, and that was all dealt with probably in the plan, right? There's been a flooding issue in that area, not right there particular, but that was all dealt with in all the plans that were looked at, right?
The stormwater would review the building permit during the building permit process.
And has that happened yet?
They have not applied for their building permit yet.
Okay, thank you. You go ahead.
Mr. Wicker.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Mayor. I had a question on the item. On the agenda, it says lots 11 through 14. In the ordinance, it says 11 through 12.
Yes, sir. So like I said, the rezoning was originally only for lots 11 and 12, but the property as a whole is 11 through 14. So the rezoning was for those two lots, but the binding site plan was placed on all 14 lots. Or I'm sorry, all 11 through 14. So as you can see, as the existing site plan was 11 through 14, the rezoning was only for 11 and 12 back in 2023.
Okay.
And that's why you can see that the rezoning was for lots 11 and 12 with the binding site plan placed on all 4 lots.
And so the tree buffer and all that's still all good as far as regardless of how many lots there are, 2 or 4
Correct.
lots?
The tree buffer and OPEG screening is required based on the adjacent zoning being R1 to the east.
Okay.
And so that east property line, as you can see on the existing blank binding site plan, they still labeled the 5-foot tree buffer and OPEG screening fence.
Okay.
As you can see on the current proposed site plan, they don't show that. And that's where the recommendation from the City Planning Commission that would be on their binding site plan. It would still be required by code, and we would require it on the building permit, but they wanted it to be strictly shown on the site plan.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Do we have a motion?
Yeah, with that, Mayor, I make a motion to pass this agenda item.
Okay, we have a motion for approval, waive the reading of the ordinance and read the title only.
Yes.
We have a second. Please read the title.
An ordinance amending the binding site plan associated with the change of zoning approved with ordinance 23-33 on the tract of land which is hereinafter more particularly described in section 1 hereof.
Is there any further discussion? Please vote. Motion passes 8-0. Bringing up item 29, consider approving an ordinance pertaining to business by amending section 736(1), 3602, 736(1), 3603, Division 736-1, Article 736, Chapter 7, Lawton City Code 2025, by adding that Animal Welfare Division may require separate license, adding the requirement that all commercial animal establishments provide a copy of their license from Animal Welfare if required to have one, providing for said building, establishing an effective date. Charlotte.
Well, I tried to keep the title nice and small for you tonight. So this is just literally adding two sentences in there. One that says animal welfare may require additional licensing, and that if you have additional licensing from animal welfare and you're operating a commercial animal establishment, you need to provide us a copy of that as well for part of our documents.
Okay, I didn't follow all that, but it's concerning to me. It's the way it's read, may require a separate license. Is that an administrative matter that's a license for a certain amount of money and the decision is made by animal welfare instead of legislatively?
No, so animal welfare requires like kennel licensing and boarding because there's certain regulations that those businesses have to meet. And so we're saying that just because you have a commercial animal establishment license, which includes pet grooming, boarding, all of that, you need to also reach out to animal welfare and verify that you don't need one of their licenses as well to operate.
Mm-hmm. But it's code that's making the determination of what they owe, not.
Yes.
It is code driven,
Yes,
Mayor.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just referring back to Chapter 5 for the animal welfare licenses that they require.
I think it's confusing the way it's written, but your explanation's fine for me. And other questions, council? Can I get a motion? Move to approve, waive the reading of the ordinance and read the title only, and we have a second. Please read the title.
An ordinance pertaining to business by amending section 7-36-1-3602 and 7-36-1-3603, Division 7-36-1, Article 7-36, Chapter 7, Lawton City Code 2025, by adding that Animal Welfare Division may require a separate license, adding the requirement that all commercial animal establishments provide a copy of their license from Animal Welfare if required to have one, providing for severability and establishing an effective date.
Please vote. Motion carries 8-0. Bringing up item 30, consider ratifying the action of the city manager pertaining to authorization of deploying members and equipment of the City of Lawton Fire Department to the state of Texas as part of a Type 3 Swift Water Search and Rescue Team. City manager.
Mayor and council, this request came through emergency communication channels a couple weeks ago, and because of the emergent nature of this request, I authorize it under the auspices that I would bring it back when we had our next council meeting, so that's what I'm doing here. And this trip is fully reimbursable. But in order for our fire department to operate outside the city limits, you must approve this.
Can I get a motion for approval? Second. Have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion carries 8-0. Public can't let this go without appreciating our firemen. And if I'm not mistaken, isn't there some little ceremony to appreciate?
We're planning on doing that. They got back last Friday, so everybody's safe and sound back from Central Texas, and so we're going to recognize them at the next council meeting.
Okay, and of course, they were down there for a serious situation, but it also gives them additional training for when they're deployed here and at the expense of the federal government. So we like that part too.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right, thank you. And let's go to item 31. Consider approving a contract for the purchase of approximately 8.37 acres of real property from Terry K. Bell II Revocable Trust for property located at 2505 Southwest 6th Street for the amount of $1,970 and authorize the mayor to execute the contract. Dwayne.
Mayor and council, this item pertains to a purchase of real property located 2505 Southwest 6. It's 8.37 acres. It's currently the location of the LATS headquarters facility. It contains 6 different buildings. One of those buildings will allow us to relocate the current or existing police evidence building. They needed some room to expand, as well as the site selection committee from this body concerning the LATS Transfer Center had selected that facility to construct a new transfer center. So this will open the door for us to move the evidence building to one of these facilities and start the process of building the new transfer center.
Funding source?
CIP.
Okay, Mr. Hampton.
Yes, Mayor, I've been waiting for this LATS movement for a while. And I want to move to approve a contract for the purchase of approximately 8.37 acres of real property from Terry K. Bell II, Revocable Trust for the property located at 2505 Southwest Lee Boulevard. 2505 Southwest 6th Street, which is where the LATS offices are located, for the amount of $1,970,000 and authorize the mayor to execute the contract thereof.
Second. Okay, I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Please vote. Motion passes 8-0. Bringing up staff reports, number 32. Receive a report from the Community Enrichment Department regarding the abatement of tall grass and weeds. John.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Today, I'd like to provide an overview of why residents are seeing more high grass throughout Lawton and explain the challenges Safe and Clean Neighborhood Services faces during the growing season. The issue is not lack of effort by our staff. In fact, our department is completing more abatements than ever before. The challenge is balancing a rapidly increasing workload with fewer personnel and while following the legal requirements for enforcing private property maintenance. So today what I'm going to go over is the staffing, number of abatements, and then our benchmarks as well for what Neighborhood Services does. So as you can see right here, just 6 months ago, our department had 10 code enforcement officers assigned to individual wards. Today, we only have 6 officers covering the entire city. As a result, each officer is responsible for multiple wards, increasing travel time and reducing opportunities for productive enforcement. Unfortunately, we anticipate our staffing could decline even further, potentially limiting us with only 3 code enforcement officers. These vacancies are largely the results of employees leaving for better career opportunities. This slide highlights the work our department has accomplished. We have, as you can see over here on the 2526 slide, we've issued more than 13,000 notification letters. Work orders have more than doubled, and most importantly, property abatements increased from 1,200 on the 22-23 fiscal year to over 2,500 this current year, which is a 110% increase. These numbers demonstrate that our staff is working harder than ever in producing measurable results. Any questions on this slide?
I'm making notes. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. So it is also important to remember that grass enforcement is only the one part of our division. It is responsible for our division. This year, we've also assisted 270 residents through the HAP program, removed more than 500 abandoned shopping carts from the streets, cleaned numerous illegal dump sites throughout the city, completed nearly 400 out-of-cycle bulk waste pickups, and code enforcement officers personally mowed more than 180 properties when necessary, and continue assisting individuals experiencing homelessness by connecting them with shelters and available community resources. These responsibilities compete for the same staff and resources and respond to high grass complaints. So what I would want to emphasize on 3 points: our employees are working hard every day to producing measurable results for the citizens of Lawton. The demand for service continues to increase and makes it increasingly difficult to keep pace during the height of growing season, which we are currently in. And our mission has not changed. We remain committed to providing clean, safe neighborhoods for our residents. Any questions?
I have several. So I know everybody works hard, and I've met your people, and I appreciate them, and I know they have a tough job because every contact they have is negative.
Yes, sir.
Maybe not everyone, but the majority of them. And people aren't glad to see you. And I get it. The challenge is we've got to ask questions. We don't look good. We've got this goal that we're not meeting. And then we've got the true north. I got it right here, but it's so small I can't read it. But it says, we will not make excuses or settle for in our pursuit of excellence. And what that means is we have to ask questions.
Correct.
And so my question is, what are our options? Because we can't continue the way we're going. And so you've said some things here, and I'm going to ask you some questions. They all have to do with working towards solutions, okay?
Yes, sir.
Have we considered options of contract services? I know that there are cities that have contract code enforcement. Have we considered that? Have we looked into it?
No, sir, we have not.
Okay, I'm going to suggest that maybe we consider that because I'm not interested in going through another year without getting there, okay? Without looking good. Now, why do we have an increase in violations? What's going on that causes an increase in violations?
So one of the reasons as well is Lawton is a rental town. We do have higher rental.
But it was a rental town last year, and it was a rental
correct.
town the year before.
And on these numbers right here, sir, as you can see, 13,000 that we've sent out on notifications. You can quite see where our done by owner within the 15-day time frame has tremendously kept going down year after year after year. So we're getting less and less voluntary compliance to mow their yards, where it's taken us to step in to mow it for them.
Okay, tell me rental property versus owner in percentages, and if you're guessing at it, I'm okay with that. What is it? 50-50? Is it 70-30?
It's about 70-30.
So, okay, we have, if I'm not mistaken, the last time I looked, 45% of our property or 40% is rental property. And you're telling me that 40% drives 70% of your problems.
Majority, because we are sending out the notices to out-of-state, out-of-town owners to say, hey, please mow your property. And they're not getting back with us in time until after the abatements are done.
What percent of our problems are absentee owners?
I would say probably 75 to 80%.
Have we sat down and thought about how to deal with this? That's one question. And I want you to think about that. You don't even have to, I don't want to go through it. The other thing is, are we exercising all of the authority that we have under state law to address these more immediately? And especially, well, I probably can't say especially, you got to treat everybody the same, but the absentee owner that's not here to even see his or her property, I guess I'm just wondering if we're using all of the authority we have to provide these safe and clean neighborhoods. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. It does. And the one thing that we have to do is we cannot just simply enter private property. We got to make sure that all the paperwork, that we have an active admin, active letter that we sent. Last year, we were able to get our active letters so we can be able to go on property within the 12 months if there's a violation. So if there's a violation, we have an active letter on a property and that property is in violation, that property will go straight to work order and straight to our contractors to be abated. It's these properties that we're waiting on right now during growing season that their active admin has expired. And so now we're having to wait the 15-day due process to make sure that we are giving them the due process to state statute to make sure that they either get it taken care of or we step in at that point after the 15 days and abate the property.
Has the state law changed on this, or has it been pretty consistent?
It's been pretty consistent on the state law.
Okay. Other questions, council? Yes, Ms. Williams?
I see you say you have 18 illegal dumping sites.
Yes,
Do you
ma'am.
have any in Ward 7?
I know we have had about 2 or 3 of them
What's the locations?
that I can get you the information on.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Emery?
Yes, what is the HAP program and how, the HAP, you had on one of your
The HAP
slides?
program. Yes, ma'am.
And how is that affecting the statistics?
So what this HAP program is, it's the Homeless Assistance Program, is actually where we have one of our code enforcement officers that's in charge of helping out homeless individuals. So it takes them away from his area of assigned duties to go either to a shelter, anywhere in Lawton, to make sure that the homeless individual, if they want a bus ticket to better themselves and to better their lives, we give them the bus ticket to help them move on and to help better their lives on where they can get help from. That is the HAP program.
So, I mean, how do you determine, do you just pick up these individuals? What's the process?
So what the process is on that is normally we'll get a call from a shelter or from Lawton Police Department, or even we'll have homeless individuals come in. We'll ask them questions, make sure that they have not used the HAP program before, where they haven't received a bus ticket before, and at that point we kind of ask them questions on, okay, why do you want to go here? Because I have family here, they're going to help me out. Okay, and we'll help them out to get them to where they can get the help to turn their lives around. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Epps?
I'm sitting here thinking about this, and I'm thinking about what the mayor said in terms of providing options on things that we can do. And what I'm struggling with is I've heard from some constituents that, hey, I got a citation I had a vehicle in my driveway. I'm just making up one, but this has come to me. I got a citation within a year for having a flat tire, and now I'm being notified that the city's on their way out to cut my grass now because of how we wanted to be aggressive about the absentee landowners, I think. And what I'm wondering is, are we addressing the problem correctly, or have we really done a deep dive into figuring out? Because I have complaints about we have to do repeated abatements on the same property, and understanding like what's the recourse to really to make the bite a little more, but where it needs to be. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
And so I'm thinking about what the mayor said in terms of like options coming before us, so we can kind of see what's available to us, and thinking outside of the box to really enforce it in a way that's effective, but in the right way, in the right area, affecting you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
So what we do to properties, if we have to abate a property, as soon as our contractors send back the note, we put a lien on the property. We send out an invoice to the property owner, and there is a lien that is put on the property that the property owner is to pay within so many years or whatever, but they are supposed to be paying that lien before they can pay their taxes on that.
Yeah, I think my point is there a way where we can go back and look at this holistically and deep dive into options, into other things that we can look at, so that we are addressing this more effectively? That's what I'm thinking about.
There are a couple.
And I don't mean to cut you. I'm not saying you have to address it right now.
Right. I think he's ready to address it, but I want to make something clear, John. I wasn't saying you were making excuses. I know you're explaining the situation. I'm saying the fact that no excuses is in the true north means we have to go to great lengths to look at options.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
That's what I'm saying. So I
Yes,
didn't,
sir.
I didn't want you to take that wrong.
Oh, no,
'cause
sir.
I'm with you. Larry.
I was getting ready to say that there are some options out there, Mayor and Council. We've got to establish some kind of escalating consequences for these repeat offenders. I think we need to, like you say, do a full body off, if you will, with maybe the city attorney, municipal court individuals, and develop some recommended courses of action, because we've got to get tougher on all of the property owners that don't live in this city. Because we burn up a lot of time trying to get to them and just inform them of what we're doing, even on the phone, through emails and other things. I will also say that as the leader of the department, I own this. Okay? As a leader, I'm the person that's supposed to keep everybody else in step. And right now we're kind of out of step. And that's because of some of our operations. And if you look, there was this Lean Six Sigma weed abatement operations plan that was attached to this. And as soon as Jonathan's done, I'm going to brief that and let you know where we're headed with some of the operational side of the house. We were more concerned in the initial start of this entire program with taking care of the code enforcement officers and enforcing, and we forgot about the other side of the tree. So we're eating the fruit off of one side, and nobody looked at the health of the tree, okay? And we lost a bunch of code enforcement officers because of that in some cases. Most of them moved on because they had family member issues. Some moved on because they had children come into their lives. Others moved on because they found better opportunities, okay? So again, I own this. We are where we're at right now, and I refuse to be here next year. I really do. There is no reason for this, and we can fix it. We can fix it, but it's going to take some help from Lean Six Sigma, a lot of motivation, and some teamwork.
Talk to us a little bit about that.
Okay, yes, sir.
Have you got a presentation here?
I do. Jonathan, you finished?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so I'd like to start by proposing this Lean Six Sigma abatement ops plan. It's designed to increase contractor productivity, to reduce the number of unresolved property, improve documentation, and provide greater accountability throughout the city's weed abatement process. Now, this does not mean that we're going to ask or request for additional personnel or resources. Instead, we're going to use what we have, okay, and optimize it. Instead, by focusing on improving how existing cases are prepared, assigned, routed, completed, verified, and reported. This 90-day operational pilot will allow our staff to establish current performance levels, test geographic routing, contractor scorecards, and return to council with measurable results and recommendations for citywide implementation. The primary objective is to move from a largely case-by-case based structured production system that increases productivity and accountability. And we do that through Lean Six Sigma. And it's going to help us get, this framework is going to help guide us to where we need to be more efficient. And I go back to the lean in the Lean Six Sigma, where you eliminate waste and make this process fast, simple, and more efficient. If you take a look at this slide, it just kind of depicts our decision point. Again, we will be asking, we are, council to authorize the staff to develop this 90-day pilot program to implement it as a performance-based pilot. The reason I'm asking again is because I see the need for improvement in the operational side of the house with the way we assign all of our contractors to complete this work. And there are a lot of things that we could do better. This pilot would include 5 primary components. One is establish the baseline of current performance. I've already begun doing that. Organize eligible properties into geographic work zones. Issue route-based work packages instead of assigning isolated addresses. The 4th is measure contractor performance through an assessment scorecard. Report progress through an executive dashboard. These are pilot targets that you see across the bottom The baseline period will determine whether they are realistic and whether adjustments are necessary. We intend to become faster with our response time, increase production, be more accountable, and clearly report to everybody, including the city manager and the city council, in real time. Oh, here we go. Why change is needed? This is kind of how we got here. The process contains several operational delays that occur before the contractor even receives or reaches the property. If you look through this slide, you will see the reasons: the seasonal surge Jonathan talked about, the manual handoffs, okay, travel waste time with contractors traveling to a site and then moving to the next address, which is way across town. When you got 3 other properties, you can cut right there. Quality defects. The quality defects to me are missing photos from the package, so the contractor doesn't really understand or know what they need to be doing, and they have to call, and we have to send people out to explain to them again what has to be done. Limited visibility. The limited visibility is kind of where what I saw as receiving so many emails, citizen concerns at one time, and not having a dashboard where I could look at that and see where everybody is in real time throughout the wards and the process, and that being the contractors. So the objective is to eliminate unnecessary waiting, travel, rework, and administrative defects while preserving every legal due process requirement. This is the framework. The DMEC framework is what we're going to use again to guide the improvements. If you look at that, we're going to define, staff will define, confirm the problem scope of the pilot, and customer expectations. We already know what those are. Measure, staff will collect 30 to 60 days of baseline data on cycle time, backlog, cost, and output. Analyze, we will identify primary causes of delay, excessive travel, rework, and invoice problems. We will test the pilot zones, okay, the route packages, standard classifications, and scorecards. And finally, we will operationalize it by using SOPs, dashboards, QA sampling, and performance reviews to sustain gains. The baseline measures, if you look there, which could easily become key performance indicators and will become those indicators: complaint to inspection time, first time quality acceptance. These are just a few. And remember, the pilot principle is right there in the center of that slide. We're going to measure first so we don't assume risk, and improve second, and control continuously through those standard operating procedures. Future state operating model is what you see before you right now. A case begins with a complaint or an officer's observation. The violation is confirmed, proper notice is given, the compliance period must expire, and a reinspection must verify that the violation remains. The major control point here is that no property enters the green phase, the ready queue, okay, until it's legally eligible. It's fully documented and route ready. That means the packets are completed, everything is ready to go, and then what we will do is we will move into the route strategy and assigning that to a route. If you look at that, you will see, the next slide, you will see that we've kind of broken the city into 6 different areas, and contractors will receive those areas. What's important to me is that the routing rules number 3, the contractors' primary zones with backup zones for surge capacity. When we begin assessing the contractors, we will have a great idea. We do now, but we will have a better idea of which contractors can handle which portions of this tough job, and those will be the ones that get rewarded as we move forward. This is an example of the scorecard, and if you look at this, you will see that I dated heavily, or I weighed heavily on on-time completion, production, and first-time quality, because let's face it, that's a lot of the job. On-time completion is very important when you do what we do. And this is subject to change again, but this is a baseline to assess contractor performance. Executive dashboard. I use this as a place setter for IHEP. And I was talking with Mrs. Christy Shannon in GIS. She's going to come up and brief here in a little bit. She said, if you think it and you dream it, we can build it. This is the example, my example of an executive dashboard for the people on the other side of the seating here, for the city manager and for the city council, so that you can look at it in real time and know where we're at with each case. This is the 90-day implementation roadmap, cross map. This pilot will be implemented in stages, in 3 stages to minimize disruption. Our intent is to take this define and measure, analyze and design, pilot control, and a citywide decision. So we will come back to council and let you know what our reports are and what we found and what we're going to recommend, the different courses of action. The last slide, again, is we're asking council to authorize us to do this 90-day pilot program. And the bottom line up front is this is here to improve speed, consistency, contractor accountability, and our transparency.
Okay, I don't think that requires council action. It's administrative. And I'm proud to see all of the work you've put into this. And, you know, I'm with you guys, and I understand you've got some extenuating circumstances, but I don't think our neighbors do. And if I had 3-foot tall grass or 6-foot tall grass next to me, I probably wouldn't understand it either. Now, your Lean Six stuff, I love it. I understand your green belt.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to encourage you to work with Mr. Brown and his Committee on Performance Excellence.
Yes, sir.
And we look forward to seeing you back in 90 days. And now I want to make sure you understand that I don't like D&Ds through the holidays, November, December.
Yes, sir.
And I'm very fine. We're getting the D&Ds pretty somewhat wrapped up. I know there's still some there, but I think we just maybe need to plan on no April, May D&Ds so that you have extra manpower to deal with the rainy season, I guess we call it.
Yes, sir. That was going to be a recommendation in the
Council, further questions? Mr. Warren.
Not really a question. I just wanted to throw a little bit of history out there, if it's still viable. A lot of this started probably 25 years ago, when some of the larger property owners in Tulsa and Oklahoma City started lobbying and had state statutes changed that made it harder and harder for cities to control how fast we could go out there again and all of those different things. Some of those things have gotten drawn back, I think, which is good. But one of the things that we deal with all the time is that same property. It's been mentioned, that same property over and over, and they never live here. They live in Las Vegas.
Yes, sir.
And one thing that we had started looking at, I don't know that we ever actually did it, because it shifts some of the manpower issues from one department to the legal department. But part of the problem is, through this whole process, we attack and we litigate with the property. We need to litigate with the man that owns the property. And as soon as we make that a personal loss for them, because right now, the manager and I have had this discussion before. Right now, if we go and we write up that property, nothing happens to that guy that owns that property. It gets put on the tax rolls. And as long as he comps the system and goes back and goes back and forth. He never pays. So what we have to do is take him to district court and file nuisance charges or whatever it is that we can do. So that's one thing we can look at.
Yeah, we can foreclose on our liens. That's one thing that we can do, but the outcome of that could be that we now own the property, and so that comes with some work as well.
I'd rather own it and mow it than to mow somebody else's.
Okay.
Are you telling me if I don't mow my rent house or my tenant doesn't mow my rent house, you can't do anything to me but file a lien on the property? You can't fine me?
No, we can both abate and cite. Yes.
Are we aggressive in citing? Because I agree with the premise of what Mr. Warren is saying.
Larry and I have certainly had this conversation where both citations and abatements, those are tools that Neighborhood Services has under the code, and there's appropriate times in which to use it. I don't know what those numbers look like, but
We could bring it back.
Okay.
Off the top of my head, I don't have them.
I'm gonna tell you, the people I talk to want to be aggressive. They don't like living next to 6-foot tall grass. They want us to be aggressive. They want us to be citing people that are not good neighbors. And I don't know how the council feels about that, but our job is safe and clean neighborhoods, and that means being aggressive with all the authority given the city. Council? I need more than nodding heads.
I'll make a motion we decided we don't need council action to bring the plan back.
This isn't an action item.
Okay. Well, if we want more than nodded heads, I think we need to be as aggressive as we possibly can be. Not that I doubt that this plan that Mr. Parks has got will work. I think it will. I see it. It reminds me of one that might have floated around for a little while. But there are companies that we could use piecemeal if we need to at some point. I don't think want to, bring that whole thing in and take over a whole department with it, but there's one that's called professional code compliance and another one that's called Safe Built, and they will do pieces and parts. They don't have to necessarily take the whole thing. So if we get to a place where it's like timeout while we try to fix this, we might want to talk to them. But
Yes, sir.
just a thought.
I did look into those two companies too, sir, what they do. And that's very viable.
We're going to go down the line, and I want everybody to voice whether you want to be aggressive in the power of the city to address these issues. Ms. Williams,
Aggressive.
Mr. Wiegert,
Yes, aggressive.
Mr. Hampton.
I had a comment. I'm looking forward to the fruition of your efforts here. Pertaining to Ward 5, I have a lot of empty lots, and in my mind, I'm thinking that empty lots don't have any obstruction at all. I mean, you just go at it because they're empty. I do know that some of them probably are owned by people, but it's no doubt after we demo those houses, there's less care and concern about those lots from the people that own them, as you probably already know. So dealing with the empty lots, in at least in my ward, I think we can just kind of zoom through there and knock those out. And of course, you guys have been addressing homeowners, whether they live here or they don't. There are some lots in my area where their people don't have the funds to actually get out there and do that. There's older people in my area, and I drive by and see some of those lots. I know this isn't your concern, but in Ward 5, there's a lot of drainways, and those get tall, I notice in the parks, you guys cut the grass, but those don't get addressed. But John and I have had discussions about the people that are responsible for that. So, it's no doubt there, especially during rainy season, there needs to be a plan. I do like the idea of slowing down on the demos and giving you guys an opportunity. You guys are one of the biggest boots on the ground people that there are. I mean, even with the closing of the 10 area, I drove by there this morning and your people were over there securing that fence because I noticed that homeless people that went over there and moved it around. So indeed, like I said, I'm looking forward to that. I do think that there is a height requirement, I know, of how high the grass has to be before you guys can write the tickets or address the issue. But I do. There are vacant rent houses that do have that, and I do agree that the owners of those houses need to feel the issue, and that goes with me having to look at those houses that need to be demoed or that are I mean, it's the same issue. If the owner feels it, then they're more apt to deal with it than for it to be pushed off on something that they don't even have to face. So I think that we do need to be more aggressive, and I do think that it's good when a plan comes together. And I see that you're doing that, and I think that's fantastic.
Thanks, sir. For the record, sir, it was actually the contractor that did the demo on the house that shuffled the fence a little bit, and we gave them the authority to do that, and we came back and put it back in place and staked it down. Yes, sir.
I'm going to assume all that meant aggressive.
Aggressive.
Mr. Brown?
Yeah, I'm okay with optimizing towards getting it the best amount done. I think you also ought to look at what I heard earlier was the optimization of the focus of your same group of people between D&D houses and then grass and that stuff. I think you can optimize a lot in that area, which fits your aggressive standard.
Okay. Mr. Epps?
Seasonal certainly makes sense to me where you optimize based off the growing season. Having said that, there was a couple things mentioned that I also really liked was, getting with some of the other departments, the legal department, and understanding how we can be, like, what does it mean to be even more aggressive? What are the pros and cons? What are the options? What are the risks associated with those options? Because it sounds like there are some things that we haven't exercised. I'd really be interested in hearing what those things are.
Yes, sir.
So we can understand. And if you need something from the council, like that would be great to understand.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hooton?
I couldn't be more aggressive about this. Go get them.
Okay. Is that all you have for us? Great report. We look forward to you coming back with all the solutions in 90 days. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right, let's see. The next report up is receive a report from the Public Works Department regarding bulk trash pickup. How you doing, Jason?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
I'm something kind of wonderful. Thank you.
So I have a quick update this evening for you guys about our bulk waste program throughout the first 6 months of this year. The bulk waste program, so far throughout the first 6 months of this year, we have met our goals up until the timeline of June 25th, which at that point is when we had the mid-June storm, and we also created two tree drop-off sites, one at MacArthur Park and one at 38th Ball Fields. At that point, we did fall a little bit behind on June 25th on the bulk collection. Throughout this year, our bulk collection program has been very successful. We've seen a 10% increase from our numbers last year. Through the first 6 months, we've collected over 10% more each month at the curb. So residents are starting to utilize it more. It's being more effective. It seems to be working. We're able to complete that within the 3-day period. On Thursdays and Fridays each week, we're able to provide additional services with the staff and equipment. We provide paid bulk pickups, and also like for our apartments and different other entities, we provide bulk collection for them as well. So throughout that time, each month we've averaged about 1 million pounds, a little over 1 million pounds per month of bulk that has been collected at the curb. From the mid-June storm where we increased, and with the 2 drop-off sites, we collected, in a little under 6 weeks, we collected about 2.4 million pounds of trees and bulky items. So that's what got us a little bit behind. We are back fully on schedule now. Everything seems to be going well. The only drawbacks, we have had reduced staffing. That hasn't affected us any. The only drawbacks have been parts availability for our equipment and downtime. So everything so far throughout this first 6 months has been very well for us.
Did you go through that storm with 3 trucks that needed repair?
We did get through that storm with that. We got down to 2 grapple trucks at one time, mostly due to the week that we had the 2 drop-off sites. There was way more use to those sites than we anticipated. So we had to bring grapple trucks to assist our roll-off trucks. So after the storm, then the issues, the mechanical failures started occurring. Throughout that, just last week is when we got back to having 4 bulk trucks. And with that, we increased our hours to 10-hour shifts. And the guys that we have really fought through it, have done really well to get us caught back up.
It's been a while since I've done this, but when I see one of those trucks, I might follow them for a little bit. Those guys barely stop before they get out of the truck and they're already operating. And I mean, to me, it looks like their productivity is real high, and they work hard from what I see. I put this on the agenda because ever since the storm, I just was worried we weren't getting caught up maybe as fast as we need to. And I had no idea that you were having parts problems.
Yes,
Is
sir.
there any way, and obviously you heard me talk about no excuses, means we got to ask questions. And it doesn't mean I think you're making an excuse. It means we've got to ask questions to make sure that there are no excuses. Are we doing everything we can? Are these recurring parts problems that we can stock?
With it being a specialized piece of equipment, we can't necessarily stock all the essential parts depending on, if it has a blown cylinder, or depending on the type of, what kind of repair is going to be needed to say. I mean, if we were to stock every part that a grapple truck needs, we would have $200,000-$300,000 in parts for each truck. So it sounds like a great idea, but financially,
There's not like 10 parts that break recurring.
not necessarily. There is a couple of items on the grapple trucks that get used more often than not, but with the grapple truck unit, it's made by 3 different manufacturers and pieced together. So the cab chassis is one manufacturer, and you may have a failure there, and then you may have a failure on the grapple assembly. So there's a lot of tie-ins with electrical and everything else from different manufacturers that comes together to make that function properly.
Rusty, what do you have to tell us?
In looking at it, they haven't made it completely through the cycle. What they're also seeing right now, they've got across all of Lawton and the debris pickup. But what we're seeing and starting to see and coming out, people are now moving it out of their backyards from storm damage. So there's still storm damage now coming out that was not out when they made it through the process. So
That makes sense.
another month, there'll be at least one more month probably of still picking up storm that is now being brought to the curb that was in backyards. And people are broke tree limbs. They're finally getting to trimming the broke limbs out of the tree and bringing it to the curb. So those are other items that they're facing. Now they're up to 4 operational trucks. They're still working on the 5th truck. But one of the things that I've looked at in the 3 weeks since I've taken over public is and some of the earlier discussion is supporting getting the divisions to support each other, is trying to come up with ways that other divisions within Public Works, the combined Public Works can support when they have a storm event. How can sewer construction, how can streets, how can they support that additional workload? And one of the areas that I'm really looking at is talking about the drainage areas. You know, bringing crews in to do some of this stuff to help them get caught back up when they have an event that puts them behind schedule. And it should not, a week's worth of concentrated effort from another group to support these areas and everything's really not going to kill their workload, but it's going to improve the performance to the citizens. And that's one of the areas, and of course, we haven't had time to really field all these out, but we're looking at that holistically across of all the areas that Public Works touches, and with solid waste and the bulk waste in dealing with parts that Neighborhood Services deals with, is how we can, during times where we're not impacting, we don't have commercial, how can we help them in some of the things that they're doing too? So
I like the sound of all of that. Sounds very good. Questions, council? Okay, and I'm glad to hear we're getting those trucks fixed. That's concerning. I'm going to tell you what I don't want to get to and not know about it before it happens. When I got here, we had 2 street cleaners, and neither one of them worked. And if we got them fixed, they worked a few hours and they died. I don't want to get to that point without us knowing something, okay?
yes.
All right, thank you for coming. That moves us to item
Thank you.
34, receive a report for the IT department on the city council's GIS dashboard. Is Dwayne gonna take your place? Okay,
He is, Mayor. He's coming up.
all right. Judy?
Hey. Good evening, Mayor and Council.
How are you?
I'm just give you a brief overview of what our GIS division from IT has. They've created a tool for council members so you can kind of see what's going on. And Christy Shannon, she's our senior GIS analyst, and Everett, he's my GIS analyst. They came up with this dashboard for council, and hopefully we can come, as we work with Larry Parks, in giving you another dashboard so you can see what's going on. Go ahead, Christy.
All right. Good evening, all. All right. So think of this kind of as your bird's eye view of looking at Lawton through the GIS lens. Okay. So GIS, that is Geographic Information Systems. So we're going to start out by showing you here the iHelp board, that this is the public facing app that the citizens will use and that you can use as well to signify different issues in the city, such as blight, park, road issues, refuse issues, etc. So on the back side, we actually have a manager version, and that's how we sort through these issues that are brought up by the citizens. All right, so we also have some other things in here. Like I said, this is a bird's eye view. So these are a lot of different things that you might find helpful, such as the air quality index. So this is important, especially like in transportation planning and other entities across the city. So as you can see, today we're doing pretty good, 44 AQI for Lawton. This also kind of just shows you across Oklahoma. This is an interactive dashboard that you can use. So kind of going through some environmental issues or environmental studies here. So we can look at the lake levels as well. And so this is a dashboard that's for the citizens. And then this dashboard also interactive. This dashboard is connected to like USGS data sources and I believe Army Corps of Engineers as well with the Lake Waurika data. And when you see up at the top, all gates are closed at Lake Latonka, that means that we have somebody over there that actually interacts with this on the backside and tells you when we're opening and closing gates for flood control. Along with lake levels, we also have severe weather. This is just for you to see if there's any issues. And this will normally not happen. So it's basically just telling you if there's any wildfires in the area or if there's severe flooding or thunderstorms. All right. Calls for service. Yep. Yeah. So calls for service is a dashboard that shows how many calls have happened with fire and police. So you can see across the month how many calls have come in. So this is what the emergency communication is getting in. And so we've mapped this out, and you can see the number of total calls, and also this is very interactive. You can zoom into the map, and you can see that they both interact at the same time, the police and fire. And so you can kind of see what's going on, the hotspots in the city, and you can kind of see like what months, maybe had more calls or fewer calls. All right. Street closures is a public facing dashboard. This one just shows you all the street notifications of closures in town, as well as when there are main breaks or main repairs and maybe water has to be shut off or maybe the street needs to be closed shortly. This also shows you the water notifications. And for the citizens, we thought it would be a wonderful idea if you wanted to see how far away there was a street closure, you can just type in your address up there at nearby and it'll show you everything within whatever diameter you want, like a mile away, 2 miles away, etc. All right, and then of course we know the CIP. This one is also a public facing dashboard. This is where all of your CIP projects are located. You can click on any project, you can see the project budget, and then also the timeline for that budget, the fund sources, and also any project milestones, just anything that the city personnel wants to share. All right, and then IMS. This was when we surveyed our streets for cracks and everything. And so we compiled a data set here, a dashboard, so that our streets personnel can take a look here, see which streets need to be fixed. So there's also a map at the bottom left there. You can also see an interactive map view of this. So obviously the red streets are ones that need road repair. They have lower PCI scores. Green is excellent. Okay, and then just something new that we've added recently is traffic congestion. This is actually updated every 5 minutes, and this is hosted by Esri Data, which is the company that we use to create all these things for you. So this just shows you where traffic is congested in town. And when you zoom in, more streets appear. So I don't know if you want to zoom in here today and see if you're going to get home quickly. All right, so shopping carts. I know this was mentioned earlier today in another brief. Everett worked on this one, and it shows you where all the shopping carts were collected and how much money and fees were also collected. All right, and then trash pickup. Once again, public facing. This is for the citizens to know when their bulk trash should be out and when their garbage normally gets collected. Also, once again, very interactive. And then the next one is the cemetery, which we actually made in-house a work order system that they use out there that works very, very well, and it replaces a very old and outdated system. And we did not have to purchase another system because we built this in-house. Now you're just seeing the data side of it. You're not really seeing the workflow here. But anyway, this is very helpful for our cemetery crew and and parks as well. All right, and lastly is just lot and demographics. This is from 2020, as best 2020 could provide us with data. So this is just for you to get a better idea of everyone in Lawton. And at the top, right, we have economy and housing data and also demographic data. So we built this with you in mind. You know, we hope you can use this as a great tool to see Lawton in a GIS view.
Do we have logins for this, or the same thing as our email, or what?
You will have a login for it.
Okay.
Yeah, there was an error on one of them, and so we will email you your login. with your
Okay.
information.
And then some of this, for whatever reason, it's not all public facing.
True.
Mhm.
So some of it is, but once you have a login, you can actually see the public safety ones. Those are already on our websites.
Mhm.
So this is just a tool for council members, so you can kind of get a more in-depth view of what we see.
Mhm.
So,
So I'm impressed. I'm
thank you.
impressed.
It's them too, my
Council
GIS people.
comments?
I think this is phenomenal, by the way. Two things. How close to real time is the information?
So it depends on our sources for that information. Some of it is pretty quick in real time. So for example, I didn't show you here, but we have a water work order system too. And our dispatchers and scheduler can see everything in pretty much real time. Like that one I showed you with the traffic congestion, that one is a data set that's provided through Esri, that's every 5 minutes. The calls for service is manually updated by us, like monthly. Some things are get updated quarterly. So it just depends on how time sensitive it is.
Okay. And then the last question, I had a neighborhood watch meeting last week or the week before, and there was a concern that came up, and some of the people were discouraged because when they went to iHelp and they tried to mark the location, it took them to like the Atlantic Ocean or something crazy.
Yes. So I think I have an idea for that to better facilitate where the citizen is planning for that position to be, like to get the accurate location. I have some ideas.
Okay, so that's something that we're working on to refine the
Yes,
location.
kind of like,
Okay.
kind of minimize the geofence of it to where it's just City of Lawton, so they can only pick inside our Lawton area.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Who did all this?
This is a combined effort of Everett Bonine and myself, Christy Shannon.
Okay, you're pointing over there. Who's?
Everett, stand up.
Oh,
Everett,
somebody
stand up.
hiding
Yes.
over there.
Yes,
He's got
that
an I
guy.
Love Lawton Fort Sill pin on.
Yes, he sure
Ju-
does.
Oh, okay, I was
Yes,
hiding.
see.
Now, what is your name?
Christy Shannon.
All right, Christy. Well, I'm going to tell you, you guys in this combined effort have done a great job. We had a great example of how collaboration works well for the city last night, and we have a great example of how collaboration works today. Any comments? Mr. Warren?
I just wanted to comment that I remember distinctly the day that Judy and I talked about this.
Yes.
It's been a long time.
Yes, it has.
But it's an excellent product, and I appreciate all the hard work that went into that.
Yes.
All right, thank you guys so much.
I have a comment.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yes, I just want to say this is amazing. It's good to see everything in one place. Was there a placeholder on there to see what ward you live in? Like you can type in an address and your ward will come up?
So that was probably on our public-facing ward information or ward map specifically for show council wards. I believe we do have that capability. It's not on here because this is for you. This is not for the public.
But we can add something, another layer, so you can see your
Right.
award.
Yeah, it would be nice just not to have to go to different places just to see, when we get requests and everything.
Oh, yes,
Thank you.
absolutely. And if I may add, GIS is just integral to everything. It's cross-departmental. So we work with so many departments. And so, yeah, we're on the same team. So we're
right.
working together, sir.
Awesome. I'm proud of you guys. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to the addendum. Item number 1, consider approving Council Policy 115 on acceptance and administration of support from 501c3 organizations for city functions and facilities. Jerry.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The explosion of opportunity in the city of Lawton because of CIP funding has brought to light certain opportunities for members of our community to want to be engaged at a higher level in supporting different services of the city. Part of those services include donations and gifts, which have tax consequences both to the donor and to the city as recipient if our projects are being funded by tax-exempt bonds through CIP. So the policy you have in front of you is the tax law requirements for 501c3 organizations who wish to partner with the city of Lawton. I know that some discussions we've had earlier that there may be some mechanics that may need to be tweaked, but I feel very comfortable about the tax portions that are in here and the requirement of checking on CIP funding and with bond counsel. One of the things that I am learning is that council policies go into effect immediately, but we were talking with the city clerk and the city manager earlier. There is an opportunity if we wanted to pass this so that we could start working with organizations on tax exempt issues, but maybe we could set a effective date of 30 days, which would be August 27th, so that if there are some changes that need to be made mechanically, there's time to do so. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Randy.
I was just going to make that motion that we.
Okay, I've got one speaker first. Patty Nyworth. We've got your address and phone here, so you can go ahead and speak.
You know where to find her?
When I started reading this, being the treasurer for Friends of the Library, and the Friends of the Library, our whole sole purpose in life, as you well know, is to support what we do at the library. And we spend approximately $75,000 to $80,000 a year supporting the library, the programs, and what we're doing. And when I started reading this, I talked to Jerry a little while ago, I said, dude, $250. I mean, you can't do anything for $250. And she explained this as a bond and a tax, and I understand all that. But I really don't want you to do something that's going to keep us from being able to support the library. And so the 30 days would be appreciated because we need to learn more about what it is you need done. We have an MOU with the city and have since the 50s when we started. And, we want to work with you to make it work for the city, believe me. So we would really appreciate some time and some more information about where it is you're going with this.
Okay. Thank you for coming, Patty. Randy?
I would make that motion that we approve this and set a date, effective date of the 27th of August.
Is there a second? Did I hear down here? Second. Okay, discussion? Please vote.
Hooten. Yes. Epps. Yes. Brown. Demery.
Yes.
Hampton.
Yes.
Uyghur.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Warren.
Can I have a motion go into executive session?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Hooten.
Yes.
Epps.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Demery. Hampton. Uyghur. Williams.
Yes.
Warren.
morning. Thank you.
See, that's how you guys get a bad reputation. Instead of a donut, you got a candy bar. Candy bar? I'm gonna say I never had a donut on duty, but I don't know very often.
Can I get a motion to return from executive session?
Motion to return. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Hooten.
Yes.
Epps.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Demery. Hampton. Weiger.
Yes.
Williams.
Present.
Warren.
Executive session item 35. Jerry?
Pursuant to Section 307B-2.2, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, council convened an executive session to discuss negotiations for a collective bargaining agreement for FYE 2027 between the International Union of Police Association, IUPA, Local 24, and the City of Lawton. Mr. Mayor, no action is needed.
Item 36, Jerry.
Pursuant to Section 307B.4, Title 25 Oklahoma Statutes, council convened an executive session to discuss a pending claim for potential litigation involving Kimber Sue Downey as personal representative of the estate of Robert Anthony Downey related to a claim for damages as a result of negligence. Mr. Mayor, no action is needed.
Okay, audience participation, Mr. Gregory Smith. Audience participation, Mr. Gregory Smith. Please come forward. And sir, I've got your address here, so you're good to go. 3 minutes, sir.
When I bought my house, they told me that I need to keep the easement cleaned up. To make a long story short, the easement, you've seen the easement behind, in the lot next door. The lot got so full of trash next door that they were dumping concrete that had been jackhammered out of the floor and stuff. It's a total nightmare. I'm trying to think of the easiest way. I'm nervous now.
It's okay. There's no need to be nervous here. Just
well,
I'm looking at this on a map while you're talking.
If you could pull up on a Google map to see what that lot actually looks like, you'd be amazed. I've invited the council. I'd furnish the gas and a vehicle or anything to look at the lot next door to me. I've been trying for years. You've seen it, Mr. Hampton. It's a total mess, and that was 5 years ago when you seen it, and it hasn't got nothing but worse. The fire department's been over there twice. It's supposed to be a recycling yard or some kind of stuff. I got that green stuff for the orange flowers that grow. The first few years, I used to trim it back, but all it did was make it grow worse and worse. I got it all the way up my house and growing up on my roof. I mean, when Bussy filled in my chain link fence with dirt, I couldn't get my fence replaced, or nobody could give me an estimate until he cleaned the dirt off my fence. But come to find out, they changed it so it wasn't in the floodplain anymore. I'd just like to have something done. I'm worried about it. The last couple of years, the guy living in the school bus, in the wintertime, he has a fire in a wood stove and the sparks come out the stovepipe and stuff. And I'm afraid when these vines get real dry and stuff, I was worried last year and I called your office a couple times about it. It's a total mess. And I mean, I've tried and tried for a long time to get it cleaned up. And I had to come in and get a special permit from you guys to change the spark plugs out in the backyard of my car. I mean, It's just terrible.
This is, council, on the left side of the screen is Guy's Body Shop,
Okay, I'm east of Guy's Body Shop.
and to the right is east. And then
Put an
you're the
arrow where
one-
Guy's
it
is,
says a 108 on his house.
Okay, you see, yeah, there's my house. You see the carport right to the left of there? It'll be, you see all the junk back there? I started complaining when they start filling in with the dirt up my fence line. You see that straight line all the way down my fence line? Back in the 80s, they changed the flood zone. So from that fence to Guy's Body Shop is not in the flood zone anymore.
Is this Ward 5? Yes. It is Ward
It
5.
was
Okay,
7, then it got-
here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have the city manager look into this.
Okay, now, back when Brian Long used to be a city manager, he tried to get something done, something happened on his
Okay,
part.
well, we're gonna find out about it for current without regard to Brian Long.
Well, like
And
I
we're
talked to
gonna-
Alan
we're
Hampton.
go- We've got your phone number, and Mr. Councilman's Mr. Hampton's gonna be involved in the communication, and we're gonna get to the bottom of what we can and can't do for you, okay? And
Well, I
we're
come in
gonna-
to see you guys a few years ago about a nuisance report and stuff over this, and then everybody said, we'll take care of it, we'll take care of it, but that was
Okay,
years.
we'll look into what fell apart on our end as well, okay, Dwayne?
I've been
Right.
told because he's got a fence up there, there's nothing that can be done, and I've been told that's a big lie. That's from even people that in
Dwayne
the city.
Charlotte is
Okay.
very aware of this.
If we're gonna tell the citizen we can't do anything, he needs a copy of the state statute that says we can't do it, okay? Is everybody good? Thank you for coming, sir. Thank you for waiting. We're gonna get to the bottom of it. Mr. Hampton's gonna stay right in the middle of it, okay? Thank you, sir.
Take a ride by sometime, Mayor.
Thank you. Do I have a motion for adjournment? Have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Hooten. Epps. Brown. Demery. Hampton. Uyghur. Williams.
Yes.
Warren.
We stand adjourned.